Alright, welcome back to Starcraft 2 visual novel. Stop staring and say something. The sound of my name wakes me from my stunned silence. I jolt upright and offer a flurry of nods. Sorry, I said yes, definitely say yes. Jett and Axel watch me in silence until I lower myself back into my seat. It takes some determination to come out here alone. Let's see if it translates into wins, eh? With a thumb, it settled. I somehow found myself with one of the best practice partners in the world. I really hope this isn't just for the novelty of playing with some random foreigner. Axel, it's about time to get back to all-out attack. Wouldn't want to get DQ'd if we'll be matching in the semis. Can you be certain that I didn't lose to Mach already? What if this was my way of saving face? Funny, have you lost to a foreigner even once? Hey, you never know who's playing on a barcode account. You sure you don't want to split? Final offer? Collude with you? Not a chance. What about you, Mach? Gonna stick around? A PC bang with the bustle of tournament isn't a great training environment. The bracket will probably take a few hours to work through. No, I'm gonna head home. Got a lot of practicing to do tonight. Leaving already? Well, hey, it was good to meet you. Be at the Golden Zone Fire tomorrow morning and we'll find out if you're overhyped. Will do. I rise and offer them each a nod and thanks before heading back towards the PC area. The last thing I see is a vague smile from Jett as she leans over and whispers something to Axel. Alright. I squeeze my way through the growing crowd and manage to make it through the doorway leading outside. When I hit the street, I'm met with a cold breeze and a rush of voices, sound, and light. This is it, a shot, one final shot to make it happen. One last chance to live the life I want. I quicken my pace, eager for the comfort of a dark room and a bright monitor. Dark room. Really? Dark room. Why the fuck would you ever play? Let me give you a tip here. Don't ever play in the darkness. Why? Because you're fucking with your eyes. Play with the lights on. This is the day that everything changes. That's what I do, by the way. Starcraft 2 visual novel. True to her word, Jett sent me a reminder to get over to Golden Zone Fire for some morning practice. I enjoy playing online and all, but matching against someone only a few feet away is more productive. You don't say. Talking over games in person makes it easier to get feedback and improve, and that's what I need more than anything else. The sting from my failure at the VSL qualifier will take some time to fade. I don't want to experience that pain ever again. Oh. I catch sight of Jett in the middle row, her attention locked on a ladder game. Without disturbing her, I take a seat at her side and watch the match unfold. Furious taps and clicks rattle her keyboard. Her focus never drops from the game, much less her monitor. She's ahead, though not by much. It's not long until she extends her lead in the late game, and a few minutes later heaves a sigh of relief when her opponent rage quits out. She's Zerg, by the way. As in, she's a bitch. There's no need for me to consult my Korean skills to understand her final message. Zerg Imba. Yeah, Banelings. I wish I had them. Thanks. You actually showed. Color me surprised. How could I not? The better question is how you have the free time to practice with some amateur. I'm the charitable sort. Obviously. Yeah, obviously. Anyway, you're here, so let's stop wasting time. You've paid for your PC, yeah? I nod and log myself in the station next to her. A minute later, the two of us are grinding out the practice matches. Oh boy. Game after game is a beatdown. I can't crack her defenses when I attack, and I'm barely holding on when she goes on the offensive. You don't say. Let's see Mutalisk on one side, Zerglings and Banelings on another, mass roaches. She's just as unforgiving and pointing out my mistakes as she is in game. Your wall at the ramp to your natural is trash. How the hell do you get away with this? You're asking to get busted. It's like, yeah, that is asking to get busted. Really. There's that gap to begin with. It's like, yeah. It's not something I really think about that much. I just throw it up, you know. Yes, very. You're certainly Grandmaster material. Fix it or be punished. That probably isn't an idle threat. Jett is the type of player capable of ending the game instantly if she can capitalize on the right kind of mistake. Her style has been characterized as both passive and reactive. How the fuck does that statement make sense? She takes her time and watches her opponents and patient for the right moment to strike. She only takes a risk if it's calculated in her favor. Given her former success, the style has suited her well, though I can't help but wonder why she hasn't lately been performing at her previous level. Maybe she's lost her killer instinct? Guess not. A reminder of the skill difference between us rushes up to my natural expansion, crushes my wall, as promised. In the aftermath of the destruction, she swarms my base and seizes an easy win. Jett revels in her victory with a predatory smile. Wrecked. Before we get into the next game, I catch sight of a familiar face coming into the cafe. Huh, isn't that the same guy from last night? Hey Jett, do you know who that is? I thumb in the stranger's direction as he passes us by, his attention occupied by a cell phone screen. Jett trails a look after him, wrinkles her nose, and shrugs. He's a key PGA player, Protoss. What about him? Come on, get into the game already. Seriously? He was at All Out Attack yesterday. What's he doing outside of his team house 2 days in a row? They're only figuratively chained to their desks. Not all of them are shut-in. Stop wasting time. Let's go. I double take away from Jett to find the player in question seated a few rows in front of us. And he's got the Starcraft 2 client open. Why would a key PGA player spend his practice time on anything but Brood War? Should I ask him for a game? I think I'm going to ask him for a game. What? No, hold on, wait, you can't just... She can, and she will. But before she can stop me, I rise and shuffle my way past the rows of computers. Jett shoots me a withering glare over the top of her station before ducking back down. Even though I've barely interacted with that guy, I can't help but feel a little anxious as I edge closer to his PC. Sure, he was a bit rude when we spoke, but the chance to challenge a key PGA pro was too good to pass up, especially if I'm trying to step up my game. He's about to jump into a match when I clear my throat right behind him. He subtly alt-taps and turns to regard me through half-lidded eyes. What? Excuse me, would you mind a practice game? No, I'm just here to... He pauses, recognition fits across his face. You're the chick from All Out Attack yesterday, aren't you? For a moment he looks ready to dismiss me and get to lathering, but at the last second he nods. Alright, one game. With final nod, I return to my station. A moment later, he and I share a game lobby and are just about ready to begin. He's playing on a barcode account, typical. How have I still not managed to catch this guy's name? A sharp tap against my headphones announces Jett's return and displeasure. You're obnoxious. If you lose and embarrass me by association, I'm going to pretend I don't know you. Anything else Jett has to say is drowned out along with the sounds of Golden Zone fire and when I pull the ear pad back on. If the idea behind practicing against the good players to improve, I should probably play standard. Still, the temptation to all in is always there. How sick would it be to grab a quick win again on a PGA player? You mean a guy that likely has far better micro and macro against you and you think you can rush him with a cheese strategy? Fuck you if you think that's gonna happen. It's probably best that I follow Jett's advice. I opt for a standard micromanagement game, this guy's build permitting. I take my natural expansion and begin taking up. The match progresses quietly with only a few brief skirmishes with his stalkers and my marines. My scan shows that he's not doing anything out of the ordinary. One of us has to make a move sooner or later. I start constructing my starport and researching my bio upgrades. I'm surprised to find that they finished without any pressure coming from the Protoss army. This could be a good time to go for some drop play and trying to snipe some critical tech buildings. If I were to play an aggressive drop style, I need to be confident in my control and the fact that I cannot play him. On the other hand, this game has been exceptionally quiet. If I could get another expansion, I'll have a serious economic advantage going into the late game. Go for aggression. You'll lose anyway, by the way. Dropship play is a defining characteristic of a top Terran player. You mean it's the defining characteristic of every Terran player. If I am to win with this, it's a good if I can win with this, it's a good indication that I can stand toe-to-toe with the best players in Korea. It's time to put my practice to work. I gather enough units for attack on my starport as the first dropship finishes. It's imperative he doesn't see me move out, so I make sure that the watchtowers are clear and avoid places where Protoss players commonly leave their observers. When my dropships are clear, I fly straight into his base. He's unprepared for the attack and I unload all my units, rush to snipe some important tech buildings. And you missed the fucking obvious one. Just saying. With damage to his infrastructure done, my units retreat for the safety of my dropship. That's it, and back a ton. And then you squander it. The game is going incredibly well, so I decide to pull back on my aggression build and build up an army for a final push. Why? Seriously, why? He's been too busy defending to get a decent standing army, and when I roll in with my amassed units, you're a moron, he kites back, bobbing and weaving away from my forces while delivering potshots. I give chase, the taste of victory tantalizingly close. I manage to corner his army, leaving him with nowhere to run. And then, like every shitty Terran player, you don't scan to figure out what he might be doing. You just go in. But just as I move to deliver the final blow, bam, he flanks me with half a dozen Templars, showering my army with high damage storms. I pull back frantically, but my army is left in tatters. I try my hardest to gather enough units to mount a second offensive, but he continues to crush my attack with only a handful of well-guarded and well-upgraded and well-microed zealot stalkers and archons. How the hell did this happen? My lead is gone. Frustrated, I box all my workers and charge towards his base for a final attack. My head hurts. This guy's an idiot. With my SCVs on the front lines, I should have enough power to take a direct engagement. I roll through his fourth base uncontested. Yes, he's giving up ground because he knows he can't face me. Are you an idiot? Emboldened, I drive... This is painful to read, even. God. Who would do this? No, really. If you're in a situation where you've taken out their expansions, then why would you ever... Then why would you ever rush for his natural, which is probably running out by this point? Instead of winning with an economic advantage. Bloody hell. And find myself face to face with an ambush. You're Terran, you've got scans. You use scans. My front line evaporates before I can issue the command to retreat, and he crushes what remains of my army a few moments later. I can't believe it. I lost. Yes, of course you lost. I stared blankly at the screen for almost a second before I finally typed GG and quit the match. I don't have long to sulk in defeat before the KPGA players makes his way over to me with a smirk. As promised, Jett is nowhere to be seen. Hey, you actually know how to play. Wasn't expecting that I have to try. It's a compliment, regardless of how he said it. Though it's difficult to be graceful in defeat, I try my best anyway. I played the game the best I could, kept vision on you, dropped him when I could. But it wasn't enough. Sucks. It's the one thing to lose carelessly, but it's another when everything goes as planned and you fail anyway. His grin darkens to one without humor. Is this guy serious? What the hell is your problem? You demand the game and whine when you get a little pushback. Look who's talking! Everyone knows your type. The foreigner out to make a name for yourself. You fly out here on a whim and waste 6 weeks training. You aren't the first to try and fortunately won't be the last. Your plane ticket doesn't buy you the right to call yourself a pro gamer. Save your money and your time and go back home. I feel the heat right is in my face, half in anger and half in embarrassment. I've never dealt well with the confrontation. But before I can say anything else, Jett stops out from around the corner and cuts between the two of us. Still great at making friends, huh, Bolt? Who is this guy? Anyway, he glances between the two of us, surprised. After a few moments pause, the so-called Bolt sees back his smirk and meets Jett with a step forward. Been a while, hasn't it? Wasn't a supposed Star League champion... What's a supposed Star League champion doing with trash like this? Ball looks past her and tilts his head towards me. I take a step towards him, but an open palm from Jett stops me from going any further. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Jumping ship to a scene bloated with foreign money has its upsides, but it won't be long before you forget the dignity of a pro gamer. The dignity of a pro gamer, huh? You make it sound so distinguished. You've changed for the worse and you don't even realize it. How sad. Shouldn't be too much longer until the KPGA finally accepts that there's no future in Brood War. You're smart enough to know what happens then. But hey, the scene could always use more casters. Whatever you say, for the record, what excuse did you give your cat coach for another day off? VIP is a little more lax than Shock T1, but I might want to borrow it someday. At that Bolt scowls, Jett doesn't waste the opening and strikes again. Don't worry, Dong Sang, your secret's safe with me. Run along now. I'm sure you've got coins to flip or something. The stand-up lasts a moment longer before Bolt lets out the lazy shrug, instantly killing off the intensity in his expression. I've got better things to do than offer advice to a Mach Chobo. Do what you want. He thumbs his nose at me and returns to his station without another word. As soon as Bolt bursts out of sight, Jett takes my arm in a vice and practically drags me away. You had the game won. What the hell was that? An SEV pull at 15 minutes? Is that what they teach you on the North American servers? Even after heated confrontation, her concern is with the match before anything else. I almost laugh. My drops crippled and I thought it would be enough to end the game. So build units for 2 minutes and then go roll them. Don't be so damn impatient, your upgrades were late too. I agree with her, by the way. Mach played like an imbecile in that game. Like, you had an advantage early on, you don't waste that advantage by trying to bum rush the player who's better than you. And you know he's better than you. Our pointed critique diffuses the tension from moments prior, even if it doesn't exactly make me feel any better. When she's done going through my long list of mistakes, just flicks her hand back towards the PCs. Come on, queue up a game against me. I told Jett I wasn't feeling up to practice after we played a few more one-sided games. She seemed annoyed but agreed with my suggestion to take a short break. Back in high school, I used to spend most of the time at library when class was over. To be honest, this is probably the most time I've willingly spent outside of my room since then. I'm not the type to read for fun or study diligently, but it was nice to have a place to go and be on my own. I've missed those afternoons since I graduated. But Golden Zonefire is a good replacement hangout as I could hope for. It's clean and comfortable and has pretty much anything that I need to stay 24/7. This isn't an exaggeration, some of the patrons here look practically glued to their chairs. I'm not sure about Korea, but I know in Japan some people even live in net cafes. I'm not joking on this. Some people genuinely live in net cafes. With a milk tea from one of the vending machines in hand, I return to my seat across from Jett. She isn't wearing the same scowl from earlier, but I can tell she'd be rather practicing. What are you drinking? She snatches up the can from across her and takes a long sip. Coffee. What kind of coffee? Coffee's coffee. I don't drink sugary junk. And for the record, it's obnoxious to challenge someone that you don't know to a match. Is it really such a big deal? All I wanted was a practice game. Do you know those types that stream snipe and start shit on message boards so that people pay attention to them? All too well, unfortunately. That's you, except you did it in real life. Bolt's a real tool though, isn't he? What kind of prick? Jett cuts herself with a hissing grits her teeth. How do you know him? His name is Bolt? Yes, he plays for Shock Tier 1, or T1, whatever. Shock, huh? Bolt must be a new recruit. I haven't paid much attention to them or any other Broodor team since Starcraft 2 came out. But he definitely wasn't on their roster a year ago. Right, but how do you know him? Jett clicks her tongue and breaks her gaze away from me. I silently appreciate the reprieve from her death glare. If you must know, he and I went to the same middle school. I was in the class above him. Oh, okay, I was thinking he might have knocked you out of a tournament or something. No, I've never played him in a Star League. You don't need to overanalyze everything. Silence follows between us while Jen nurses what remains of her drink. I can tell if she's really into coffee or if she's just trying to find something to occupy her lips other than our conversation. I doubt Jett spends much time at PC bangs given that she's got the team house to practice from. I should consider myself lucky that she'd make time to come out here at all. You know, it makes zero sense for you to focus on qualifying for VSL, right? I blink myself from my thoughts to meet Jett's intense stare. What do you mean? What's the point of us meeting up to practice then? No, I'm not saying, listen. I want to round up some players. For what? For VSTL. A team league? But you're already on a team. Yeah. Yeah? She wavers, considering whether or not to tell me what I've already figured out. You're leaving VIP. Jett's eyes jump to mine, brows raised in surprise and then furrowed in annoyance. She's been VIP for almost a year, and is by far the team's best player. Management barely pays us and nobody is motivated. They're worse than bad, they're complacent. I want to first start. I'm not guilting you. It's just isn't something I expected to hear. Do you have a team house picked out? No, not yet. What about the coach? Nope. Well, do you have players in mind? Look, it's a work in progress, okay? I edge away from her glare and raise my hands defensively. Alright, sorry, it's not my business. For a while silence, Jett does her best to avoid eye contact, but I can tell she's thinking hard about something. Just as I'm about to rise to replace my milk tea with another, she speaks. You know about all those new foreign teams popping up recently, right? Yeah, what about them? Isn't it strange? They're worse than almost every Korean squad, yet most of them have more sponsors. Well, there's a lot of esports fans outside of Korea these days. People want to support their hometown heroes. I don't think that's simple. Where would the money come from if not the fans? Idiots. What? Idiots. Idiots that call themselves investors. Idiots that throw away money keeping mediocre players afloat because it makes them feel good inside for whatever reason. Well, she and Bolt agree on one thing at least. Okay, are you going to find some idiots to sponsor you? No. Well, maybe. She takes a long moment to reconsider her answer. No, it wouldn't work out in the end. What I'm getting at is that too much of our scene ignores the foreign fan base. It's a huge mistake. Well, there's a time difference and a language barrier. Also, I don't know if you know this, but lots of foreign fans don't find Korean players entertaining. Probably true. What? How dare you? That's ridiculous. It's true. I'm just relaying common knowledge. Don't hold me accountable for the opinions of Silver Leaguers. God. The Silver League is judging you. That's so fucking low. Most Western fan support goes to people who entertain, well, streamers, casters, those kind of people. And Koreans just don't cut it there. You know, they want to watch people on stream. They want to watch people with personalities. You know, people who speak in English well, for instance. Just a point. The most famous players in your scene aren't the best. That's appalling. Hey, Broodor got popular on the backs of boys that look good on camera. That's practically the same thing. If the PC bang wasn't the ship, then the fan girls pulled the oars. Now the same thing. They were pretty and skilled, not one or another. And show some damn respect. Those boys are the only reason that you and I are able to have this conversation. The sharp response and equally sharp just that I shouldn't argue the point. Jett knows better than I do anyway. We're getting off topic. There's tons of potential fans that most Korean teams ignore simply because they're too hard to connect with. Yeah, I agree. She lifts an eyebrow and stares at me for just too long before glancing away. If I wasn't sure before, I am now. Go on. Go on and what? I know what you're thinking. No, you don't. Yes, I do. What am I thinking then? Is this a high school conversation? You want me to join a new team you're starting so that they can help you with the foreign fan base. Also, you invite me here to try out under the guise of practice. Yep. Jett slumps back in her seat defeated. I fight the losing battle against the urge to laugh. Don't look so smug. I hate dealing with team management. You could hire a manager. Before we have any players, maybe I should just keep my head down and practice. No, don't do that. It's a good idea. You're only saying it because I gave you an offer. Partially, but if you go through this, I'll do whatever I can to help. Now are you the one convinced me to go after my own idea? Oh man, this is so fucking funny. She chews on her lip, likely considering the harrowing risk of leaving her team. I can't make any commitments until we at least have some other players. It would be stupid for me to move out the VIP house without everything lined up. This is something I've been thinking about for a while, even if I don't have everything hashed out yet. I want to keep over her head low and practice time high, lean and mean. She aims a finger at me, her dull nail a hair's breadth before my nose. If you're going to be part of this, you're going to pull your own weight. You can start by searching for our players, unless you'd rather find me a coach and a sponsor. I cringe backwards and raise my hands. No. I'll leave those to you. Good, it will work out better this way. The minimum number of players for a team league is 4, so you need to find at least 2. You know, this isn't exactly how I envisioned that I join a Starcraft team. Walk away if you like, you have a long way to go if you want to be anything other than our translator mascot anyway. I'll admit though, Axel was right. I see glimpses of high level stuff in your play. But as of right now, you kind of suck, even by foreign standards. Offense intended. I like her. You seriously need to start busting your ass. Coming to Korea is pointless if you're still practicing at Western hours. Well, nobody ever claimed that Jett wasn't honest. I'm going to work you and everyone else like dogs. If this team comes together, I won't be happy with anything less than the first place in STL. Well, I appreciate the chance. I'll offer a smile that she's quick to match. It If we're going to head with this, I've got a lot of stuff to do. The deadline to register for a team league is in 2 weeks, so we can't afford to waste time. Get moving on your search. Alright, good luck, I'll catch you online. Yeah, later. When she's gone, I fall back into my chair and take a deep breath. Jett just asked me to join her team. I pinch my forearm, judge the sensation that follows. With that, my disbelief dissolves into contemplation. How the hell am I going to find 2 worthwhile unassigned players? Good question. A mixture of guilt and pride led me to spend the rest of the day at Golden's on fire. Between ladder games and break for dinner, I scooped out the cafe's best Starcraft players. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like any of the Golden Zonfire's regular patrons are much to write home about. They were good players there for a lot to attack, sure, but today, most of the cafe's patrons were playing Brood War, and of the ones that were actually laddering in Starcraft 2, there was only a single guy in Master League. I'll have to extend my search outside of a single PC bang. I guess it would have been a little convenient to find a VSL caliber player so easily. I get the urge to stop at the convenience store on the way back to my apartment. There's one that I've been going to regularly for my nightly fix of sugar and caffeine. The store's blindingly bright signage is visible from more than a block away. Green capital letters spell out the store's name in English on a backdrop of white. Go Mart. The door's familiar chime welcomes me, and the same clerk I've seen at least a dozen times before stands formally behind the cash register. He looks a bit too old to be working still, but maybe he owns the place and doesn't have to help. What? Maybe he owns the... Maybe he has to help to work the night shift anyway. I see myself standing behind the counter in an unwanted mental image. It's a fate that could easily await me if I fail to make it as a professional gamer. I shake my head free of the thought and make my way to the refrigerated section of the store to fill my fists with cans and bottles. Some of the drinks may have strange names, but I'll be damned if they aren't good. Energy drinks! All you need. I drop them on the counter in front of the old man and briefly make eye contact with him. He seems to recognize me, but doesn't say anything to indicate it. He rings up my drink slowly, not from age or calluses, but because he's in no great rush. The store is empty aside from me, after all. 6001. I swipe my credit card and the reader and depart with a polite smile, anxious to return to my apartment. The clerk returns the expression and watches me go without another word. The only top tier player I'm on speaking terms with is Axel, but how would I even approach the subject of getting him to leave his team for a new untested one? Maybe it would be better for me to simply get a lead from him. If I can't manage that, then I'm left to scour local PC bangs and message boards on my own. Whatever, I'll figure this out tomorrow. My voice is tired. And you had to convince her? Seriously? She's been talking this up to me for the past 2 months. It's a big change, plus I just met you guys, I'd be hesitant too. Axel grins, no doubt replaying Jett's angst in his mind's eye. Getting in the ground floor is a major plus. You are in the right place at the right time. If it works out, that is. Axel glances over his shoulder before turning his attention to me. Most teams barely pay their players anything. I've got it good for someone my age, but even I have my part of my wins thanking for the team's benefit. Ouch, luckily for Westerners, that isn't a trend that has caught on outside Korea. So, I can't do it. It's impossible. The words simply will not come. What? Oh. Axel lets out a laugh, genuine and highly amused. He tries to get his words out, and unlike me, eventually ends up succeeding. Sorry, Mach, but no can do. I'm signed with Crash until the end of the year. I'm not allowed to play for anyone else until my contract is out. As expected, reality shouldn't come as a surprise. I fall back into my chair and rest my palms atop my head. I had to ask, Jett's expecting me to pick our players while she handles the management and sponsorship side of things. Hey, well, I can help you with the next big thing. I'd be thankful for any help at all. Don't worry, I've got a short list of easy pickups, an extremely short list. He clears his throat. There's only one person on it, but hey, better than nothing, right? Who is it? Oh, straight to business. Eager for your bunk bed, I see. Trust me, Mach, you'll want the bottom bunk. You know from experience. Sure do. When I was 16, someone up-jumped Broodor clan, scrapped me from the bottom of the barrel and set me up in their overcrowded sweatshop of a team house. Had to sleep above someone else at least 2 years past the graceful retirement. I've seen solitaire players with better APM. He snored a lot. APM, actions per minute. As horrible as he's trying to make it seem, Axel sounds closer to wistful than bitter as he recounts his first years as a professional gamer. What happened to the team? Sponsor flaked. Team didn't have the money for legal action. Coach didn't tell us until 20 minutes before rent was due. Someone stole my mousepad as we were moving out, and that was the end of my Starcraft career. Well, no, it kept going for several years after that. Somehow still isn't over. Always forget that part. Axel, top Korean master storyteller. Anyway, this guy, his name is Stunt, plays Protoss. He's pretty good, but there have to be a but. I'm sensing a but. It's a small but. He's incredibly cheesy and maybe a touch arrogant, and he's a high schooler, but he's good. Yes. Why haven't any other teams picked him up in that case? He shrugs. I get the feeling that Axel genuinely doesn't know, but I'm feeling anxious anyway. Still, it's important to have at least some kind of racial distribution on the team. Not in terms of foreigner or Korean, mind you, but rather in terms of Zerg, Protoss, and Terran, absolutely. Do you know how I could get in touch with him? I could give you his info for a friend request, but he'd probably block you on the assumption that you're a gold seller or something. Your best bet is to find him in person at Stomping Grounds. Is Stomping Grounds? What do you mean? Where? No, Stomping Grounds. That's the name of the PC bang he's usually at. Another trek across Seoul. I've never heard of the place, much less been to it. Axel takes note of my frown and wags a finger at me. What? You fly halfway across the world and can't be bothered to walk for half an hour? Take the subway if you're that lazy. No, it's fine. I shouldn't expect this to be easy. Now we were talking. Get going. I'll keep an eye out for your next player in the meantime. I checked the map on my phone for the second time after reading the sign for the third. This is definitely Stomping Grounds. A deep breath calms my nerves. Seconds later, I push open the glass door and make my way inside. Pretty much as I expected. Computers, vending machines, tables, and the sound of 24 mice and keyboards. PC bangs are nothing similar to one another. When a shiver runs down my back, I realize that the AC in here is cranked up ridiculously high. I read somewhere the casinos pump in extra oxygen to keep their patrons awake and alert. Maybe this place has tried to adapt the same tactic to their cafe. Smart move. A middle-aged woman sits behind the front desk. She glances up to me when I pass by and then returns her attention to the magazines played out in front of her. A quick scan of heads lined up in front of monitors offers me a few potential stunts in the sea of scrubs. But by Accel's description, he's short and has bleached hair. I'm able to narrow it down quickly and confirm his identity with a look at his monitor. He's in the middle of a ladder match. And he's playing Starcraft 2 with one hand, the other is occupied with a game on his cell phone. All the same, Stunt's crushing his opponent with the rush belt, and by the look on his face, he takes great pleasure in that fact. His enemy sends a salty one-liner before dropping out of the game without a GG. Stunt grins wide and puts his hand behind his head, satisfied. He's a prick. He's the kind of player I would love to crush. After checking the post-game stats, he glances over his shoulder and then spins his chair around to find me watching him. Sup, something you want? Yeah, you're Stunt, right? That's me, and who are you? I'm Mach. Stunt lights up, stands upright, and plants his hands on his hips all at once. Right, that foreigner that Axel messaged me about. What? Starting to think you wouldn't show up. Let's get this bet match going. Hey everyone, the bet match is on. What? Damn it, really, Axel? Before I can attempt an explanation, a crowd of 6 or 7 middle school age kids form behind Stunt. I don't see myself ducking my way out of this. Bet match, right, that's me, yes, that's what I'm here for. A foreign girl is going up against Stunt. Is this a bet match or elimination? When will they learn? Cafe Nero. He's the cafe's best player. Hey Stunt, will you buy me a juice with your winnings? Stunt ignores the peanut gallery and takes a step forward, seizing me up. Judging by his appearance, it looks like he's just started high school. I'm almost a head taller than him. Axel said you were down for a 15,000 won bet, but come on, you can do better than that, right? How much were you thinking? 25,000 is much better number, wouldn't say. Come on, you have to drag your ass all the way over here to play. Let's make it interesting. That's what, $20 or so? I'd have to skip a few trips to Go Mart, but I can't risk having him turn me down. Okay, fine, 25,000. What are we going to do about maps? Best of 3, right? Nah, best of 1 is fine. My time's too valuable, and in a show of good faith, you can pick the map. Axel wasn't kidding about this kid cockiness. Whatever, at least I can choose a map with long rush distance. I find a seat at the computer nearby, though not so close that we could catch a glimpse of one another's screen. You don't trust them at all. Good. A locked window stares back at me as I sit down. Of course, I need to pay to use the PC, but before I can head back to the front desk. Stunt slides in front of me and takes the mouse. Yeah, I got it. Consider it an investment for the money you're about to give me. Unlocks the machine with a few clicks and the entry of a password. That works. After I thank him, he slinks back over to his setup. Stunt shares a few confident words with the underage crowd behind him and then throws his headphones on. I host up a game and toss him an invite. It's not long after that I'm staring down my base and 6 workers. Cannons, 2 gates, 4 gate, blink, proxy, robo, proxy, stargater. 1,000 different ways that Stunt could end this game early. Oh yeah, Mach just listed every single potential Protoss rush belt. As a precaution, I scout around the interior of my base to ensure that I'm not being cannon rushed. And as I discovered, I am. Just outside of my vision range and dangerously close to my worker line, a cannon finishes building. So some losses in defense are inevitable, but if I handle this well, it should put me ahead of Stunt. It's gutsy of him to risk a best of 1 strategy like this. Practically all I have to do is scout it to score a victory. By microing my injuring SCVs from cannon shots, I'm able to end the rush at low cost. In truth, that seemed like an exceptionally weak attack. Was Axel hyping the skid up for nothing? I end up only losing 3 of my workers by the time his single cannon's dead. Now where's that probe? There it is. With the probe down, there's no way he'll be able to drop down any more cannons. Still, he's probably planning his next move. I have to decide what comes next. If he's transitioning to something standards, this would be the perfect time to counterattack. His tech has to be lacking. There's no way he'll have strong enough units to defend a marine attack. And while it seems incredibly unlikely, there's always a chance that he might have another attack ready. Likely would. If I want to err on the side of caution, I could stay in my base and simply tech up. But that might give him enough time to get back into the game. I should make this call based on what I know about this playstyle. Stay on the defensive. Even though I'm giving up a chance to win the game immediately, the safe thing is to do is tech up to dropships. Yeah, upgrade. But it looks like I won't need to. My precautionary scout uncovers an ambush waiting in the dark corner of my base. So, even though you're playing Terran, let me understand this. You're playing Terran and you allowed 2 probes in your base. With more than enough units and space to micro my marines, I dispatch zealots with barely any losses. A cannon rush feint into a proxy gate, absolutely ridiculous. With his rush routed, Stunt puts out the game without the GG. I won, with surprising ease too. Stunt pushes through the dumbfounded crowd and comes stomping over, fury in his eyes. You really didn't expect to lose. You blindly scout the smoke in your base after a cannon rush? Are you kidding me? Who does that? You mean any player with a fucking brain on their head? If you're dealing with someone who's well known as a rusher, you always expect them to pull crap like this. Though I admit this strategy is quite unconventional, but that's what you should do. I raise my hands defensively and skirt away from the victory screen splashed across my monitor. It takes like 5 seconds and you have a reputation for these kinds of builds, you know. He makes a disgruntled sound and stares hard at me. You got lucky, typical Terran players, and I'm taking back my... What are you yelling back there for? Didn't I tell you to sweep up the back room an hour ago? Stop screaming at our customers and go do something useful. Lord have mercy. Without warning, the woman at front desk paints Stunt a bright red from across the room. She glares at him for a moment longer before ducking behind the counter. Talk about lousy bosses. His anger replaced in modesty. Stunt scratches behind his head. The middle schoolers have mostly dispersed, evidently destroyed by the cruel realization that their Protoss god can be a lead. Sorry, that's my mod. Anyway, you beat me. Let me go get your cash. His mom. Even worse. I guess I can see the resemblance minus bleached hair. Explain how he unlocked my PC at least. Actually, wait. I didn't come here for a bet match. What? But we just played one. I don't have to pay you that one. No, I'm recruiting you for a new team. Axel mentioned that you were a free agent and wanted to see if you'd join up. I guess he thought it'd be funny to trick me into a bet match with you. A foreign team? Why don't you just send me a message or something? No, a Korean one. And Axel said you'd probably assume I was a foreign girl blocked me, although I get the feeling that was just an excuse for this whole setup. Couldn't we have just kept this simple? What if I had lost? Stunt pauses and reaches for his phone. Distracted or no, he manages to carry the conversation. Nah, blocking sounds like something I do. Anyway, who else have you got? We've got... Wait, Jett technically is still on VIP. Can I tell him that she's planning to live? What if he tells someone? Why didn't I think of this ahead of time? We have some good players about to sign and a sponsor in the works. Nothing official, but we're keeping everything under wraps until then. Sounds sketchy. Mystery sponsor and mystery players. He doesn't seem convinced. I can hardly blame him. This sort of thing is unfortunately common in esports. But Axel didn't vouch for you, that's worth something, and you beat me. The future Protoss? Bunjwa? What the fuck is this, actually? I'm curious what this is. Yeah, I don't know some of these Korean terms. I was like, everything else I could tell you off the top of my head, no problem. Once we've got 4 players and some management, we're going to pick out the team house. You'll need to live and practice with us. Alright, Costin here on Serious Gaming, signing out. Guess we got the new player.